Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. For anybody that is new to my channel, just painting, my name is Jerry, and just a little quick background. I'm very much a novice or a noob for some people on the painting world. I've only been doing this for a few years, and but I've been sharing, my experiences with everybody, and I got a little couple of techniques to doing things, especially skin tones, which I'm going to be starting doing today in a new kit. And I have my technique is not, something new or something that I invented. I took a little bit from different people that I learned from out there, from other tutorials and things like that. I, pretty much use it myself for my kits that I do. But anyway, welcome to the channel. This is the first time. And the kit that I'm going to be doing today it's an exclusive kit by NY3DCreations.com, and this is, hold on, I got a little schmegel on it. That's not schmegel, but a little, there we go. It's Willy Wonka. Been wanting to paint this one for a while now. Alright, this is an exclusive kit to NY3DCreations. This was designed exclusively for Hobby Mike on his site, and you can pick it up there if you want. He's got them in a couple different scales available for you. Now he's got the classic stance. I'm going to put a picture somewhere around here so you have an idea, and I'll add also my reference picture there, so this way you guys have an idea of what am I looking at while I'm painting to do the skin tone first. Alright, so what's easy about this kit is that we're only going to be doing the face and his hand. That's it. Okay. Now I did break his walking stick. It did break in two. I tried putting it together and I didn't have success with it. Okay, so the solution for that, see, it broke here. For some people it might be an easy fix, but I kept on working on it and I could not get it to stick. And I was afraid that this was a little bit too brittle to keep on adding it. So what I did is I got a piece of styrene, which I think is a little bit stronger, a little bit more flex, a little more give. And I drilled a hole here and a hole here, okay, to put a little brass pin. Okay, you can put a little brass pin, you cut it to size. I have the piece somewhere around here. Okay, and you cut it to size and you glue that together, and now you're going to have a really nice tight fit. The only thing I got left to do here is to taper this piece down a little bit to the end and the bottom. It's just taper just very little bit. I'm not planning to do a whole lot on it. Just taper it down, but this is the perfect size that'll fit here. It's the same size as the widest part of the walking stick. Okay, and all you do is once you're done, you glue it together, you cut it to size, and you're good to go. Alright, so that was a quick, easy fix for that. No big deal. Alright, then I had to grind down the hat a little bit in the inside just to make it fit right here on the head a little bit better. Because when you 3D print, sometimes what happens is the way these supports are sitting there, sometimes it'll create a little bubble or pull, if you call it. So I had to just grind it down a little bit, sand it, and then now I have a perfect fit on the hat, which is great. And it's all primed and ready to go. Alright, so what I use for 3D prints, what I tend to use for priming, after you clean everything up and get rid of all the support bumps and holes and whatever else is available, which wasn't a lot on this kit. Mike did a really nice job cleaning it up. What do you call it? I do use an automotive primer, okay, and that will hide any of those little squigglies and swirls that you tend to get from 3D printing, okay. But you want to be careful because you don't want to also hide a lot of detail on that stuff. So you want to be careful how much of that stuff you put on and where you put it, okay. So you want to be real careful with not putting too of a heavy coat where you're gonna end up losing all the detail. All right, so keep that in mind when you do that. All right, but he's all ready to go. And here's the top part, and then I have the trousers. Okay, and also had to do a little bit of filling here. Okay, which you're not going to be seeing once I get done painting it. But if get a perfect fit right there. Okay, because I want to paint these separately so I can get in the side of the coat and all around the trousers, and then put it together, and then do whatever touch-ups I need to do for that. Which and it's a perfect fit. Other than that top piece, I had a little gap up here, and I use a little putty to fill that in. All right, but other than that, this is beautiful. This is ready to go. I do a little seam work on the arm right here, which wasn't too bad. Okay, and guys, what I'm going to do with this kit is this is going to be I'm going to be donating this kit. This kit is going to be donated to my wife's school. My wife is a special needs teacher, and we donating it to her class. And this is for like maybe bring a little extra smile to the kids in her class and stuff like that when they come and see it. I know she showed the movie in her class and the kids love it. And I thought this would be a neat little thing for for my wife's classroom, because my wife is my hero. She being a special needs teacher takes a lot of guts and a lot of patience. So that's for her classroom, for her and her classroom. She's a huge fan of the movie too. So hopefully it'll come out real nice and she'll like it, and she'll display it in her classroom. All right. So that's the goal over here. All right. So I'm gonna try to do a little really nice job for her and the kids. Hopefully they'll like it. All right. But so that's that for that. So let's get started on this. Let's do a little. We'll put down a little skin tone. Okay, and we're gonna work on that. Then once we're done with the head and the hand, we'll start working on the top on the shirt, the tie, the jacket, and the coat. All right, and then the trousers, and then the shoes. Just some really cool shoes. All right, the top hat, and that's it. Hopefully, it'll be an easy and fun kit to put together and paint. And I'm hoping that you guys enjoy it while I do this. And hopefully, it's a quick one. Nothing's ever quick on my channel. If you guys noticed that, but I try to show you guys everything that I do. I might be fast forwarding or speeding up the video on certain parts that you guys are more already seen on my channel. You can always visit back to some other videos and check those out. Okay, and let's see what's going on with that. Okay, all right. So let's get started. My skin tone colors are always the same ones that I use lately. And I'm starting off with the tan flesh. All right. Now he is very light skinned. So make sure you keep that in mind. His complexion is very light, and I'm using the Sotar 2020. Okay, tan flesh by Acro. Let me make sure I'm sure this focus is working on this thing. There we go. Working good. There we go. Alright, so what I do, as always, I put a little bit of flow improver, 1 or 2 drops. And I put a homemade thinner, which there's a video out there for this. Check out the links for my channel I put up over there on one of my last updates. And let's start off with about, guys, my formula for paint is consistency of milk. I say this every time. It works for me. You can go a little lighter if you want, or whatever flows better through your airbrush. That's the formula that I have. It works very good for this airbrush. It's the consistency of milk on the paint, and I check it on the side of the cup to see how it flows. Okay, it needs a little bit more thinner, just a little bit. And 1 drop. There we go. much better. Okay. I use an old brush to mix it in. Okay. What else I'm going to get ready? That's how I start spraying right there. That's how much paint I start putting in. I don't put a bunch of paint all at once. Very light layers. Do a little bit of layers at a time. So you're going to start off, okay? I'm going to put very light layers. So I'm going to let this stuff dry and I'm going to seal it. And the sealer that I use, so you guys know, most of you guys already know this, I use a UV resistant clear. Okay, that's one Krylon and the matte finish. Okay, alright, so let me go do that outside, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, so the next thing that I like to do is I like to do washes. Alright, and what I do is I just to give it a little tone variation to the skin tone. Okay, and so the first color that I like to use is yellow. Alright, and what I do is I put a couple drops, and I'm using the from Game Air from Vallejo's Moon Yellow. Okay, maybe a drop is good. I don't want to waste. Okay, so that's the first color that I'm going to use. And guys, what I like to do is seal between layers. And the reason why is if I mess up, I can always go back and clean it up, and I won't damage the layer before that. And trust me, you guys, if you watch my videos, you see me messing up, and thank goodness I sealed it before and I was able to go back and clean it, because otherwise, you know, it would just damage that lower layer and then you would have to start all over again. Alright, you don't want to do that. So that's why I sealed the base layer of the skin tone that we use. Now I'm going to start another layer, which is going to be the yellow. And when I'm done with that, I'm going to seal that. I'm going to do a wash. So I'm going to put some water. Right, mix it up. And make sure you have some sponges ready, because you're going to sponge off. You're not going to wipe off. You're going to sponge off. You're going to dab this stuff off. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Right, so make sure you get a nice little wash going on in here. Okay. That's that for that. Excuse me. And make sure this is dry. It looks very dry. Alright, so grab a brush, a nice broad brush, any brush. Okay, I got this one right here. It's a nice broad brush. And I got some sponges ready here. Okay, use a different sponge for each color. Right, unless you don't use like one end, number one, and you can use the other end. So, but try not to use a different color when you're sponging off the one. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with yellow. Okay, you can just go generously all over the face. Okay, so I switch around the next color that I'm going to put down, and sometimes I switch these two colors around, these two, the blue and the reds. If I want to go with this is for Caucasian, all right, especially for light skin. If I want to go lighter skin, I'm going to use the blue last, okay, because the blue is a little colder, all right. And if I want that character to have a little bit more tan, depending on the character that you're painting, more tan, a little bit more, a little bit more deeper color, or maybe a different tone, I usually use the red last. All right, the last color is the one's going to be more pronounced. All right, so don't forget that you're putting layers. So if you wanted this to have a little bit more tan, you're going to use the red last. Or if you want it to be a little bit colder or a little bit lighter skin, I would suggest going with the blue last. And that's me. That's how I do it. I change those two around depending on the character and the skin tone. And if you're doing like a black skin or an Indian skin or something like that, these colors might change too. You might want to use more browns, blues, things like that. Not so much reds and yellows. You could use the reds and yellows, but they're not going to show very well, I don't think. I've done, black bases before, like, you guys go back and you check, I did a Michonne, and I did a Will Smith for I Am Legend. If you go to my Instagram, I got pictures up there. And you'll see that, the skins, you got some really dark blacks or lighter skin blacks and things like that. So, you might be able to show some of those different colors a little bit better. But, it all depends on, the skin type that you're doing. So take that in mind when you're doing the washes and stuff like that. So, all right, so let me go seal this and I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, let's jump on the red. Same thing. I'm going to go with the red right here. I hate these little tubs. I do. I don't like them at all. All right. So put about a drop in there. So we get that paint in here. This paint is. And then put some water in there. Mix. Nickel. I just cleaned this thing too, so it was pretty gnarly. Okay, now one thing that I learned by accident is, now I don't know if it's because of the sealer that I use or the paint that I use, but if you want to do freckling, you can. But for some reason, I can eliminate. Let's see if it works now. I might be too ahead of myself, but the color that I use, let me write it out. It's from Citadel, Air, Angron Red Clear. Okay, Angron Red Clear from Citadel. Okay, and we're making a wash with that too. And what I learned, let's see if it works. It should work. Yeah, see how I'm going to tint, but it's also beading. Okay, and what that does, it tints and freckles at the same time. So you're skipping a step, pretty much. Okay. I'm going to show you how now. Now for smaller kits, it's very hard because this is a smaller kit. What I usually do 1/4" scale kits, and this is more smaller. I do the big, large bust. If you guys look at my videos, and this is a smaller kit, so it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge because you want those beads to be a little bit smaller. So what I start doing is dabbing off the big spots, okay, wherever the paint is laying down heavier, okay. You're gonna have to be a little bit quick because you don't want this to bite onto there too much, you know. Start dabbing off the big stuff off. Okay. You want to leave the smaller ones on there. Wherever you want. What you can also use is pointy for certain areas that you don't want it, like right here. Okay, where you can't get it with the sponge or anywhere else for that matter. Okay. You can pretty much do it with the corner of the sponge. You can see how I hit it. Make sure you get inside the eyes. That's a good thing for this. Pointy Q-tip. A little bit of water, a clean Q-tip, and take out the ones that you don't want. Just damp it. Go. Clean up the area. See how it bites really quick? You want to be really quick about this stuff, guys. Just kind of rub off the areas that you want. That's pretty good. Certain areas. Don't worry if you see very blotchy. Don't worry about it. We're going to be doing this in many layers. I just don't want the stuff to be too pronounced. So let's seal it down. I got a damp little. And good thing you sealed it before because you can do that. So you can rub the stuff off. See, if you don't want it. Let's schmeckle in there. All right. See that there. See the freckling and everything? And the tinting, the red. Alright, you're going to do the same thing with the blue. You still got to do the hand though. Let's hold on. Then let it dry and then going to go back and seal it. Okay, and I'll be back as soon as I'm done. Alright, so next up is the blue, which is the Trackenhoff Nightshade. Okay, this is very diluted already, so you don't need that a lot. Alright, so let's put some in the cup in here. Just put a few drops. That's good. Pretty cool, huh? See how it cooled off the red a little bit? Just melt it down a little. Let that dry. No, that was pretty easy. Alright. Seal that, and then I come back, and then we continue. Oh, wait, before we do that. That's right. I want to show you guys the veining part. Alright, hold on a sec. Mix that up again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a nice little liner brush. Okay. Oh, here. Oh. Nice and small. Okay. Grab the hand. Now, a couple of these areas right here. We've got a couple little veins coming down. Here. Here. And right around here. Okay, so I'm going to wet my brush a little bit. Let me get another one. I got in my pile here a bunch of brushes that need to be cleaned, and this is one of them that needs to be desperately cleaned. Let me get another one. So as long as it's a small liner. Here. There you go. Let me get this out of here. Here, see, there's poles right there. Should I get that? Where else? No. Alright, so the same Dragonhof Nightshade. Alright, put a little bit of water in your brush. Let it run out. Grab a little bit of paint. Right from the cup right there. Okay, not too much. Alright, you're going to go very lightly. Follow the pattern of the vein. Okay. Give it like a little bit of a vein look, alright? Same thing as one that crosses right around here. Alright, and around there. You can add whatever you want to, guys. It's gonna come right around here. Okay, right there. Now that's gonna be hidden a little bit when you start doing the layering. Alright, now you go down here. Give them a little bit of these veins down here. Alright. Alright, that's enough right there. Alright, so we're going to let this dry. I'm going to go seal it and then come back and we'll start the next step. Alright, very gently I did that, see? Very lightly. Doesn't show too much, but it's there. Okay? Alright. A little realism, you know? Okay, so I'll be right back. Alright, so next we're going to do is we're going to use some pastels. And the ones that I use are pan pastels. Okay, these are a little expensive, but you know one of these will last you forever. All right, and the color that I'm using is red iron oxide, and that's what I use for extra shading. And I use a nice little fine brush, and I'll get my filbert brush out, which is right here. I like to use this one. All right, and make sure that you always keep your pastel brushes separate from everything else, okay? You don't want to mix them up because you're going to regret getting pastels onto your paint. And don't make sure when you open these, you open up standing up like this, not tilted, because if it, you know, these things can break up and they can fall and you get them on your clothes, on your carpet and whatever, you know, you won't be able to clean it up that easily, so it'll turn into a big mess. Alright, so start off. I like to shade up along the edges of the hairlines. Alright, when you blow, make sure you don't spit. Let's see if I'll lose it. Alright, any creases. Here. If it looks very strong, guys, don't worry about it because it's all going to blend together. You're going to be using a filbert brush to blend this out, Okay. And make sure you get everything that you need to get. So now you're going to grab your filbert brush and you can start blending it. Now these you can blend towards the hair. Alright, you're not going to hurt anything. The hair is going to be painted anyway. Alright. You can get the excess off on the towel. Blend it down here. I know it looks very strong and very pungent, but you know, it's going to, once you start blending everything in, it's going to cool everything off and it's going to hide a lot of the shadows a little bit better. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to do another shade, and that's going to be with the shadow flesh. Let me put this away real quick. So I'm going to no paint on this stuff. Right here. We need, and if you think you need to go back, you can always go back and do a little bit more. Okay. So once again, I'm going to put a little bit of flow improver. Now guys, in this step right here, you can seal it now if you want. Alright. I would, if this is the first time you're doing it, I would go ahead and go seal it. And then I will come back and we're going to do a layer of shadow flesh. Okay, not tan flesh. This is the tan flesh we used before. This one's a little bit darker. Okay. A couple drops. A bit thinner. Oops. You're going to only use a very little bit of this stuff, not a whole lot. Just a little bit of thinner. One more drop. Right there. This is the seal mark. There we go. Alright. Very little, very lightly. Look over here. Right here. Just like that, you see that? Okay, very little bit. all the time. Not too strong. The shadow from underneath. We're going to do the light source from the top over here. So shadows are going to be directly underneath. So directly underneath, you're going to go very lightly. Alright, you're going to hit the kit from underneath. And make sure you get underneath the eyebrows, underneath the neck area, underneath the ears, under the nose. Very lightly. And the way you can look at that is this right here. Let me see if I can turn it. You see the darker colors underneath. Alright, again, top, bottom, top, bottom. This camera, top, bottom. Okay? Very lightly from underneath. You don't need to put a whole lot. Okay, very gently. Not a lot. You see the difference. Top, bottom. Okay, you see that? Alright, that's what you want. Alright, same thing with the hand. The hand is going to be placed like this. Okay? So you want to hit it like this. That's where the shadows are going to be, underneath the hand, like this. So, hit it from every angle, from underneath. Very gently, not a lot. There you go. Okay, the same thing. Top, a little bit dark on the bottom. You can tell when you start flipping it like this that the colors is going on to the kit. Alright. Top, bottom, just like that. Very lightly. I'm doing it like this. That's how much paint I'm putting in every time I squeeze it. Right there. You can barely see it. Right, if I put it all the way back, that's what happens. The trigger, okay? I'm hitting the trigger very lightly. See how I'm hitting it? Just pulling back very gently right there. That's what you want right there. Right there, okay? Very lightly. Here's the one I did before, right here in the middle between these two. Like that, you see? Okay. Alright. I think that's enough on that. There you go. Alright, so what I'm going to do next, I'm going to clean the airbrush and I'm going to seal it now. Okay? And I'll come back and then we'll go to the next step. Alright, next up we're going to go back to the original color, which is the tan flesh. This is the original color that we laid down. Alright, you're going to go a little bit more, a little bit thinner than what I usually do. Just a little bit, like a real hint, not like a whole lot. Maybe like a drop or two of more thinner, that's it. Okay. Same thing. Very lightly. Okay. From far away, you're going to do like an overspray all over the face. I'm about 1.5 feet. And I'm going to spray very lightly. Okay. Same method. Very lightly all over the face. Still got some of that translucency where you got some of the speckles coming through just a little bit. Shadows are still there. Okay. Very pretty. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry and I'm going to seal it. and that should blend everything even more. Should, you know, tone the colors down a little bit and see where we're at with that. Alright, so I'll be right back. So once you sealed it, your colors should have blended a little bit better, and now it should look more like this. Okay. It's starting to look like something. Okay. Not that hard, right? It's pretty easy. Just follow the steps. You should have no problems. Alright, so now we're going to do the first light. Alright, and the color that I'm using for that is Pro Acro. Guys, these Pro Acro lines is amazing. Alright, I highly suggest them. They have they have more variety on their flesh tone sets. Okay, I wish they came out with something a little bit brighter than this. Alright, but hopefully they will down in the future. But right now I'm using olive flesh. Okay, same thing. I want to put a little bit of flow improver, a little bit of thinner. You're not going to need a lot of paint because you're not going to do a lot. It's just your first highlight. Alright, same thing. Alright, right here, if you look at here, where I have that pink right there, very lightly. That's it right there. Okay, here. That's it. Okay. So first light from the top. Light's coming in from this way. So you're going to turn them, and I'm going to shoot them like this. Okay. A little bit of an angle like that right there. Alright. Here we go. You're going to hit the top of the nose, the top of the forehead, the top of the cheeks, the top of the chin. Alright. You're going to turn like this. Turn where you think the light's gonna hit, that's where you're gonna shoot. Doing very, very lightly. Don't forget that this is your first highlight. You're gonna do another one. Right now you want the paint to just fall into the right places. Right. You see it's going on the cheeks, top of the chin, top of the nose bridge, top of the forehead. Alright. So I'm hitting in a steep angle right now. And then I'm going to turn them just a little bit just to hit those cheeks, nose, chin, a little bit of side of the cheeks, side of the neck a little bit down here. I got pink coming out, guys. Alright, yeah. Okay, see how much lighter that is? Look at that. How much darker that is. Goes from light to dark. Okay? So you know your shading colors are underneath. And there are there underneath, okay? So don't forget that he's very light skinned. And that's about where I want to go. More of the neck area. There we go. I forget also he has very dark clothing, like the jacket. It's all dark too, so you want to make sure that, you know, those colors are going to blend in. Like once you're done now, you might want to come back in later on when you do the clothing and, you know, touch it up a little bit. But you might have to because, you know, the clothing might give it a different effect to the skin tone. But, you know, this is all the real basics right now here. You know, and if you're happy with the results, then you leave it alone. So that's it for that. Let that dry, and then I'm going to seal it. Let me see. Yeah, that's fine right there. Perfect. All right. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so the last highlight that I'm going to do, well, maybe not the last, But at least with the paints, if I have to go in with the pastels, I'll do that. I'm going to use the highlight skin from the Fairy Fleshlight Nocturna series from Vallejo, which are very good paints too. Highly recommend those too. Alright, so this one you're going to have to thin out a little bit more. It's a little bit thicker paint. Alright, and this is it right here. It's got like a nice little light pinkish tone to it. But it's very light color. A little color under the eyes. I think I'm going to use a little purple pastel, but let's see. Alright, let me seal that first. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, so at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the kit is where you want it to be as far as the paint job. Okay, now I'm pretty happy where it's going. I do want to accentuate a couple of shadows there. Okay, it's got a nice tone going. Now I was going to paint the hair, but I think I want to touch up a couple areas with pastels before we move on. Alright, and okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch them up a little bit in a couple areas with pastels, and then if we have to do a little overspray, we'll do that, and we'll finish it off right there. Okay, so it's nice and sealed. Put that back in there just to make it nice and tight. Easy to work with. And the first color that I'm going to use is it's magenta extra dark. Okay. That is going to go for under the eyes. Okay. And use a fine brush. Get your filbert out. Okay. And just put a very little bit. Like right under here. Right there. I'm just going to put some inside the eye. And guys, the reason why I'm doing this is even inside his eyes is not very dark. At least this will give it a little bit of, once I put the white in, hopefully I don't have to do too much on the edges. And this will work and blending very well. So let's see if it works out. I'm going to give that a try. Alright, so I think the eyes right here. Any other areas you want to accentuate with some color? Inside the nose. A little bit down here. Just like a little dab right there. Just needs a inside the lips here. Just darken that up a little bit. much of that stuff is going to show up, but I like that. Trying to bring out a little more pink in certain areas, get a little more blood flow, really. That's it right there. Cheek. Let's see how that works out. It's like a little bit of blood flow right there. There you go. Look at that. Gives a nice little pink tone right there. Just kind of side of his cheeks, like right underneath that highlight. Yeah, that's it. That's what we need. A little bit of that. A little bit of blush. Difference that makes. Yeah. Okay. Accentuates the highlights a little bit too. Alright. Sometimes just those little touches can go a long way. I like that. That's all I needed right there. Alright. Come on. Check my hand too, just in case. Over here. Yeah, see, it needs a little blood flow in certain areas. So I'm gonna try to get some of that in there. Like right in between the knuckles a little bit. I'll try to blend those in. It might be too pale. Pretty good. I'm going to put a little more. It's just a little bit more there. Blend those right out. A little bit up here. Look in that wrinkle area right there. Alright. See how it goes. You can wipe this stuff off, guys, with a little bit of in the cotton ball with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol or thinner. Works pretty good too. If you don't like it, you can just wipe it right off. All right, and look at the difference that made. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Okay, give it a little bit of blood flow. A little bit on the fold. That's what it needed. Look at that. Beautiful. This got a nice shadow going on right here. I don't want to touch that. And right there at the top, it needed a little bit of life. And that's what I just did. I just gave it a little bit of life with a little bit of blood flow. what that magenta did to it. Alright, I really like that a lot. Okay, good. So let's seal that. And then what I'm going to do next is, you know, the hair paint, the color of the hair is also going to tell you where you're at. If you need to put a little more highlight in there or whatever you need to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, when I come back, I'm going to put the base color for the hair and the eyebrows. Okay? And then we'll continue to work on that, getting towards the lips and the eyes and things like that. But I think the hair should be the next part that we do. Alright, so I'll be back in a few. As you see, I got a little reference picture there of Willy Wonka. And the hair is like very blondish, you know, very light, maybe with a little bit of a red tone in it, very lightly. So I was thinking about either going beige brown for a base or this yellow rust. Kind of leaning towards yellow rust. I also want to have like a little dark tone underneath that. So let me try with this, and then we'll go with the yellow rust over that if we have to. So I want to go with the beige. Brown beige, beige brown Vallejo from their Panzer series 70.875. I think the other ones out there, but they might be a little bit different. But I got this, so let's try this. Oh, sorry. So this is for the hair. Okay. A couple drops in there. And that is a little flow improver. One drop. Alright guys, what do you think? See how the color comes together with the hair? Okay, so that's why you shouldn't rush in and do more highlights or anything like that. Just wait till you put some color in there, especially with the hair. Hold on a second, let me do the eyebrows. Let me get a smaller brush. So I'm gonna need it. This is one of my new ones here. Open it for the first time here. Just try one of these out. Let's see. Yeah, let's try this one out. Since we got it out. This is from Mini War Paint. Okay. Not easy to find here in the States. Alright. Just letting you know. Again, you're going to be doing different colors in there too, lighter color. Alright. Okay. I'm liking that. Get in there a little bit. It's better. Something down here. Better. Touch up some of the hair that I missed. A couple areas that I see. Alright, that looks good. I like that. I like where it's going. Alright, so I'm going to wait for it to dry because it's very heavy. The paint's very heavy in there. I want to let it dry really good, and then we'll go in with a little bit lighter tones. Oh, it needs a little touch up over here. That's where my hand touched it. You have to get this. Okay. And in here. You know, you can always go back and touch it up, but you know, since I'm here, might as well just do it. Touch up all this area. Ooh, I missed a piece right there. You see that? Got it there. It's gonna look corny if I don't hit that. There's like a total whole area right there. Look at that. That's why I go around your kit in different angles. Make sure you hit everything that you need to hit. Touch up before you proceed to the next spot, next job, or next thing, or whatever, you know. So Thank you. That's it. Grab back. Alright, so next let's do a little dry brushing on the hair. And I'm going to use yellow ochre. Am I? Yeah, this is a little lighter. So I'm going to use yellow ochre to go in first. It's kind of yellowy. Alright. Dry brush we're going to use is... Got two. Put this to the side. And I got these two brushes right here, two little flat brushes. Just gonna dry brush a little bit. Alright, so I'm just gonna damp my brushes a little bit. Alright, this is dry. So we'll start with the wider brush. Put a little bit of color in there. Get rid of most of it. Brush that we used before. A little too thick. Lighten that one up right there. There we go. It's looking a little too dark. Next one, I want to lighten it up a little bit, maybe with this NY3DC, and this is the color that I want. Yeah. And if we have to go back and put a little more yellow to it, we'll do that, but let's try this real quick here. Just a little bit of that, just to lighten it up a little bit. You don't want that wet, you want this damp. Alright. So Ricky's hand's got a little bit of a like, yellowish tint to it. Might be a little too light, but let's check it out. And all I want to do with this is just hit some of these edges over here. going a little lighter beige on the eyebrows. Just a little bit, a couple spots. Maybe. Right there. Like a little more spread out than the other ones. There we go. You know what? Let's do the lips over here. 1 second, come down. Right there. A little lip color. I use the Createx Tim Garbline line. Have a lip color. But sometimes you gotta darken it. Sometimes it's not the right color. Put a little red to it, and it should get a nice red tone. Let me get my other glasses. So I get a little red that I did from the thing in there before. Put a little color here, right there. I get some of that red, mix it in here. See if it works. After we're done with everything, I put a little bit of gloss in there just to bring it out a little bit. But I like that. I like where it's going. It's looking like Gene Wilder now. Mr. Wonka. What's this one here? Let's do the white in the eyes. How about that? I use white sands as scale color for the eyes. It's not too bright white, which is really good. I do use a little bit of flow improver in the mix. Get a nice flow in the eye. The reason why I'm doing all this because I just keep on sealing and going downstairs and sealing and coming back up. So if I can get everything done here, that'd be great. Just seal it one time. Going up and down those stairs, I gotta go 4 flights down. So it gets tiring after a while. So and I did that quite a bit today. So I want to continue to paint. I don't want to keep on pausing. Okay, so let me get my spectacles here. And hope you guys can see that. If my head is not in the way. If it is, I apologize. I like to get these things close to my body, but for when I'm filming, I try to do the best I can to keep it in focus and stuff for you guys to watch. But sometimes it's pretty hard. It's not easy to do. So hope you guys understand. And I got a big head, and sometimes it gets in the way. But anyway. Alright, let's flip it over. I'll get some color in that corner. See, I have my arms resting on the table, on the desk, workbench, whatever. And I have a grip on his face, and I have, when I put down my, the brush, I'm holding, with this hand with the brush, I'm kind of like resting one of my fingers on there, and it gives you a little more control. Because you don't want to do this like this, one of these like this, because you're not going to be able to, trust me. Well, maybe you can if you got that kind of talent, but I'm telling you, if you have areas where you can anchor your arms and your hands and things like that, then that's great, you know what I'm saying? So I think you get a little bit better control that way. But that's what I try to do all the time. I try to rest my arms. And I bring my head really close sometimes, to do the job. Let me wet this a little bit and clean it. Start over again. Get some of that excess paint out of there. It builds up. And start over again. So it doesn't get caked on there. And it's starting to look good over there. So this one needs a little work here. Needs a little love. There we go. That's about all the love you're going to get right there, kid. So that's it right there for that one. Do a little more of this one. There you go. Now, some guys like to paint black, their eyes black, so this way gives them the effect of when they do the white, like they have eyelashes and things like that. Because he's so blonde, needs a little more white on the top. Because he's so blonde, that's it right there. I went with it, I put that red oxide pastel, and then I went with the dark magenta in there afterwards, and it gave me a nice dark color outline for the inside of the eye. And the reason why I did that is because of his complexion. I didn't want to go with a dark black or a really dark brown like I do sometimes because of that. And I still have a nice color shadow in there that kind of simulates that a little bit. Like right there, you see that on the top and on the bottom right there. The bottom is going to get pinked out, okay? But I feel like I'm getting the same effect, okay? Alright, so we're gonna leave that like that. I'm gonna let that dry, and then I'm gonna seal it. Alright, and then maybe we'll put the eyes in, maybe, guys. We'll see how I feel about that. Maybe I'll do the eyes right away. I don't know, we'll see, get that out of the way. Alright, but the face is almost done. Alright, so I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and now we're gonna try. It got cold up here, really quick. So what we're gonna do now? Put the eyes in. And if you guys seen, I did a review on this, and I actually did a little demo. Evolution X Studios released new eye decals since Archer has closed their doors for good and you can't get any more of their decals. I purchased these to test them out, and they worked out great. Okay, and these I ordered like a little while back ago, so I suggest you go back and look at my video with my little demo and everything else. And Frank actually did a really nice job with these, and they worked out very well the last time I used them on Hank Hilger's kit, and I'm going to try to use them again. Alright, so I'll leave a link down below for Frank's site, so if you guys want to try them out. Not expensive at all, and they were shipped, I got them within close to a week from Germany, Alright, and they came in pretty quick. Okay, they came with a nice letter and everything, about trying them, and they come in 4 different sizes, all the way from 1/6 scale to a 1/4 scale. Okay, and they come in all different colors. You get even the ones that are transparent. You just want to color in yourself. It gives you the iris right on the bottom, which is really cool. But he has very light color eyes and light blue eyes. As a matter of fact, and they like those to go on there. Right there, I'm looking at those, but I want to size these. I think maybe 2.4 mil. Try on the blue. 2.4 mil. I think they will fit just fine. Try those out. And if not, we'll go to the 1/4. I don't think the 1/4 scale is too big. Yeah. 2.4 mil I think is the right size. Alright. Or these. Which ones are these? These are the 2.7 mil. These. And I think we're going to do 2.4. Yeah. This right here. Okay. So give me a second. I'm going to cut these out and I'm going to get this ready, and I'm going to show you how I did it the last time. I'm going to try to do it again and replicate that. Okay, so give me a second. I'll be right back. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these over here and I'm going to cut these out on this bench over here, because that's where my cutting board is. Alright guys, I just bought this Nova X-Acto knife. Alright, and this thing works amazing. You got 3 points of for cutting. 2, 3, 4. Okay, really cool, easy to change. You take this off, you can change your blade right there. Okay, so far it's been working really nice. Alright, really cool. I'll leave a link down below for you guys if you want to check it out. Alright, it wasn't expensive at all, so, and it's flat. It won't roll off your bench and stab you in the foot. You know what I mean? Because the other ones, man, let me tell you something. You know how many times I came close to getting stabbed on the foot with one of these? Yep. So I've been using this one. Hopefully I won't get stabbed with it, but it's very sharp. So I'm going to cut it real quick. You want to make sure you cut. Follow my video from the last time. Don't tear. You got to cut. Sharp. It's very nice. So I'm just cutting off the bigger square right now. I'll show you in a minute. So that's what I have right now. There's 2 eyes right there. Alright, so let me put this away. The tools that I'm using is obviously the X-Acto knife. I got a little swab here. Alright, that you can wet and move around if you need to. The eyeball, once you put it in there. A brush also to help out with that. I got 2 tweezers, and I used these the last time, and I'll leave a link down below again for this. It's the spring-loaded tweezers, alright, which you don't have to press to hold the thing in place. It'll hold it for you. You can let it go when you're ready. Alright, and then I got the little angle one if I need it. Okay, and then I have micro saw. Okay, softens decals to conform to irregular surfaces. Alright, so you got a curve, so remember that. And it sets the decal, onto the piece itself, and it cures it in place and everything. Doesn't dissolve the decal. We already tried it. And a little bit of water. So you're gonna dip this into water to release the decal. But you're gonna cut this first. So what you want to do, okay, and if you watched my video before, if you want to cut. If you look at his eyes is barely tilted upwards a little bit, so you want to cut a little bit of the top part of the eye, okay? So you can, push it up a little bit to make it look like he's looking up. Again, I'm going to draw this real quick. Where is my pen? Or a pencil will work. Either or. I have stuff around everywhere, guys. Oh, here it is. I'm going to draw something real quick, a real eye real quick. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. I'm not a good drawer, so bear with me. Just like that. Here's the eye. And you want to cut this just a little bit on the top to make this eye fit this way. And if you look at the reference picture that I have up, that's what it looks like. Okay, so that's how you want to do it. Alright, you want to show a little bit of that white down there, if we can. Alright, sometimes things don't work out that way, so we're going to try the best we can, okay? So I'm going to cut piece, I'm going to, one eye at a time. I'm going to cut one eye out. I'm going to leave just a little bit of meat on that, you know, where that white is right there, so you can grab it, okay? Okay, so just a little bit on that side, on one side, alright? And I'm going to leave a little bit on another side when we do the other eye, alright? Just enough to grab it and to move it around. So I'm going to cut the eye. Sorry if I'm not showing you this, guys, but I just don't want to move this mat around. Otherwise it becomes a real big pain in the butt. Okay, so let's see how this is going to fit. I think that's going to fit nicely there. Alright. So we're going to do this side first. So what you're going to do is you're going to dip this in water. Alright. Let it sit there for a little bit. Make sure it's just right there. You see it sitting in water here. I got Willy in the way. I put him in a little bit of water right there. Okay. Let me open up the microsol and get it ready. Hopefully I won't spill it. Over here. That should be enough for it. Hopefully it'll be able to come out. Me and my giant hands. What you want to do is you want to try to move it. There we go. It's loose. There we go. Backing off. Sometimes what you know you can do, you can just grab it with the brush. Alright. With the eye that you're going to put it in, which is, which one did I put it in? It was this one. With the eye socket, just water. There we go. Use on the brush. And put it on right there, like that. Now you need to, whatever you need to do right now, let me put my other glasses on real quick. You can move it around while it's still wet. Before you put on the microsol. Alright? There we go. Set up here. Yep. Should fit nicely here. I'm moving around by accident. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to set some microsol in there. Dip it. Put it on. Don't let that microsol just sit in your paint either. Pick it up with a little bit of Q-tip. Clean it up. I don't know what kind of effect it does on the paint. If it's gonna like discolor it or anything like that, but I just do a little bit of dab work on it. Alright, and pick up all the excess all around the pockets and things like that. Don't let it sit there. just start working, let it conform into shape. Center him. It just needs to be centered just a little bit. Alright, so we're going to let that eye set. I'm going to start cutting up the other one. Just clean up those. I don't want this to be dripping all over. Discoloring the paint or staining it. Right. So I just like to clean it up. There it goes. Let me cut up the other one. And I'm going to dip it in water. There we go. This is going. It's starting to conform. You can see it's starting to bend. Well, Microsoft stuff works really good, man. So I put a little bit more just in case. Just adhering. I just pulled it up, just swikes. Move that again. What I like about these decals, they're easy to move. Not like the Archers. Archers, I find them a little bit harder to move because they fold very easily. But this one, no, this one's holding up. You know, they don't. It's not folding on me, which is good. There we go. Let's leave it alone. Let's just get it wet and stay there. That's the spot. That's the spot. Okay, that's the spot. Just make sure you are where you want to be. Okay. Let me leave that alone. All right. Let's get the other one out. Set them in place. Let's see if I can get this way. Another thing is clean your brush. I don't know what kind of effect this stuff has on your brushes. The Microsoft, so I get a little bit of water, wet the other eye, get it ready. Right, put some water in there. Let's get this guy out. I think it's coming out of the backing already. There we go. When you start to over manipulate these things, they are going to go bad. They could get damaged. Like, you know, there's no guarantee. So You know, you're messing around with something that can tear. Just because these are a little bit stronger than the other ones that I used to do doesn't mean they won't tear. So if they are going to tear, then pull it out and start again. You know? If it starts to look a little funny, which I think it is because, you know, I've been manipulating a little too much. Let me see if I can still save it. If not, we'll get another one. And just start over again. Now he's looking like a... This one, I like the way this one's going. This one, I'm not. Yeah, I can't get him out. I don't want to. Can I still save him? I don't know. Let's see. Let's give it a try. Well, maybe. It's just he's stuck all the way in there. Let's see if I can get some water. Move it around a little bit. I think. Did he fall? Did you fall on me? Yeah, you see how he got all worn out on that side right there? That's okay. It happens. That's why you get a shitload of these decals. And that was my own fault because I should have just... You know, I wasn't really too happy with the way it went in the first time, so that's okay. Let's go try it again. Let me just put some... Alright, a little microsol on this. Just so I keep that forming. Alright. And clean that up a little bit while we go and do the other thing. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off another eye. Let that sit there for a little bit. Excuse me for a second. Alright, I got the new one dipping in water. So, let's get the brush. Let's get that wet again. That's it right there. So I'm going to let him dry and seal him. And then finish touching up the pinks and stuff inside the eyes and stuff. So for now, what I was thinking about doing is, let me take this off. Mess with my eyes. Yeah, that's looking good right there. That's looking good. Let the thing work before we seal it. Gotta do a little work on the lips too, I just noticed. So what I want to do now is maybe touch up some of these nails. Alright. Paint some of these nails. And I'm going to use... Excuse me. Shadow. More flash. nails tend to be a little bit lighter and a little pinker, so we're going to use a pale pink for nails. And to give it like a little white around the tips and stuff like that. So let me clean this up because I'm going to use this brush. Okay. Just put a little bit in the tray. I'm going to use a whole lot. Start with the bottom, see how it looks. I think it's a little bright, but I can fix that, and I'll show you how. Don't fret, you know, I'm just going to do it this way, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. So your nails, you got your cuticles which are lighter, and then your tip of your nails usually are lighter too, so I'm going to use this as that. So this one needs a little bit of work right here, a little bit on the edge. Cuticles right there. Bottom one needs a little love. Some nails in the pinky, it's tucked in. Alright, some nails right there. They're too bright. It's okay. Use the regular flesh tone, tan flesh. I'll fix that. Okay. Put a little tan flesh right across the middle this way. All right. Looks a little more natural now. Alright. Perfect. You see how these eyes look? They don't look like googly eyes, so that's good. Let it dry. Alright guys, so I'm going to have to let this dry. I'm going to let it dry really good before I do anything. And then I'll come back. I just want to touch up the lips just a little bit. It needs a little bit of color in the inside, a little bit there. So maybe I'll hit that with a little bit of a darker color. So, all right, but that looks good. I like the way he's looking. I'm not too keen about this lens. I switch it over because I wanted you guys to see better. I'm going to switch back to the other one. There we go. Good. Getting there. Alright, so I'll be back in a little bit, guys. Alright, so everything's sealed very nicely. So let's just do the pink around the eyes. And then that's it for the skin tone, guys. Okay. Besides having a little trouble with the eyes, which was my fault. You know, these things happen with decals. Decals, if you handle them too much, you're going to deteriorate. Now, these handle a lot better than others, I must say, because it did hold up for if I would have handled other decals the way I did with that one, they would have deteriorated already and crumbled up or balled up, and, you know, that one held up very nicely. And the trick is definitely, I think, using the microsol to fold it down, because if it is a little bit thicker material than what I'm used to using, you're definitely gonna need it to conform into the eye. Okay, so once I sprayed it down, it looks a lot better. It looks like it's set very nicely. So, you know, I'm very happy with that. Okay, so I got a little bit of the lip color again, and that's the color that I'm going to use to put around the eyes. I'm going to use my optimizer. And just to put a little bit of color in the corner of the eyes. All right, we're going to want to put a little bit of color in each corner. Get that dry right there. Oh, too much water. In each corner, and there, more in the inside than the outside. Okay, just a little bit, and then on the bottom right here, you want to put a little pink. Okay, so let's get to that. I wet the brush a little bit. You don't want to load up your brush too much. Okay, just put a little bit of color right in the corner. See where I got my finger anchored in there? Just put a little bit of color in the corner of that eye. Boom, done. Put a little bit of color in the corner of that eye. Okay. Done. It looks a hell of a lot better, guys. And I like to use this lip color. It's got the right pink tone to it for this, I think. Just put a little bit in that corner. Didn't go in. Just don't overload that brush. Just put a little bit of color. There you go. That's it. Okay. Same thing with this one. Okay. Okay. Set in a little corner. Perfect. Beautiful. Those eyes came out nice. Okay. All right. So now you're gonna wanna. You could leave it like that, but you wanna definitely want to put a little color in there. Bottom of the eyelid. Okay. Right down there. Seems like I'm not getting enough on the brush, and I'm afraid to put too much. All right. There we go. That's it. much better. Gives it a little bit more depth in the eye. Same thing with this one. Just get in there. There we go. This one needs like a little bit more. I got some kind of schmeckle there. Try to cover it up with this. I don't know if it's messing around or there we go. Yeah, that's it. I'm really happy the way it came out. Skin tone and everything. I'm really happy with it. Alright guys, there you go. Willy Wonka. Alright, skin tone done. Alright, I hope you guys had fun watching. Alright. Skin tone episode. Next we're going to move on to the clothing. Shirt, jacket, and coat, bow tie, maybe the hat, you know, who knows, okay? So stay tuned for the next episode on this, the Willy Wonka. Spray and seal that when I get it dry. You guys thank you for joining me and watching and learning it with me, along with me. You know, sometimes these things they get too long, but I hope you learned something from it. All right, with my mistakes and everything. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great time. Thank you.